Foster is currently working for us part-time. He has an MLS, an MA in history, experience with information visualization and facilitation with Cutting Order, databases for DH and teaching. Anna Vandergraaf has been in RT since 2016. She's our graduate assistant this year. She has experience with PTI digitization, Lilly library digitization, was a supervisor in the Fine Arts Library. At Center is now working for us part-time. You may have noticed his experience. He has abandoned us for the wilds of New York City, and I couldn't really convince him that information really was ever a good thing for here. Sorry. So he's been with us since 2015, and he has other masters in library science here. He's a Mecca Scalar developer. I'll explain those to you later. He does XML, XSLC, and XDF, and he's also a and then there's me. I actually started off as a GA for the IQ wall that was in the pre-Scholars Commons. You may also know me from such hits as Science on Sphere, when I was a GA for that. And then I was lucky enough to be hired at this group. I have a PhD in English literature. I have a master's in information science. I have undergraduate degrees in English and math. You name it, I'm going to try it. So I've been working in DH for 15 years. Actually, sort of accidentally. One of my early advisors during my PhD said I wanted to do this thing. I was like, I can figure out how to do that. And a project was born, and it's still being funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities. And it was actually created before the Office for Digital Humanities even existed. I've worked in text analysis, databases for DH, photogrammetry, and digital publishing. So, what is the digital humanities? It's a hybrid domain, as you might have guessed. It crosses disciplinary boundaries, and sometimes we do that more successfully than others. There are some sort of large issues. And it also crosses the traditional barriers between theory and practice. If you know any humanists, you know that we sometimes like to talk about theory a lot. And the digital humanities is a place where you actually see a lot of tools being developed, practice being done. Things are a little more hands-on than some of the traditional things you might associate with historical research or literary research. And that's where the technological implementation comes in. But then it requires sort of this scholarly reflection. One of the early tool builders is now someone who looks at digital forensics, right? He's really interested in what does it mean that Robert Haas, who is the poet laureate in the early 90s, wrote a poem with a company that is now out of business. Of course, it's on a 5.5-inch floppy. There's no way to read. Like, you have to reconstruct the whole thing from the ground up, right? So it's all lost. What does that mean? The other thing that I think is really helpful, this is Willard McCarty, Digital Methodological Commons. Willard is probably the modern founder, if you consider Robert Research to be the founder of humanities computing. He's been at University College London for a very long time, and he thinks about this methodological commons. And so it actually brings in philosophy, cognitive science, philosophy of science, computer science, mathematics, cultural studies, historical studies, all these things, and then you do things with text, image, 3D visualization, sound, numbers, and everything comes together, and you get insights. So I think this visualization is a great way to sort of think about what digital humanities hopes to do. It's very hot right now in the humanities because there's money there, right? Follow the money. The humanities have sort of been under fire for what do you do, how are you practical for a long time. And I think there are a lot of advances coming out of this field that are actually very practical. So CyberDH probably can't encompass all of those things. So we're innovative, we're sustainable, and we do user-centric digital humanities research and education. Our focus is on text analysis with R, photogrammetry, and digital scholarly publishing. So, text analysis with R. Our features are an open instructional workflow for text. One of the most instructive and probably important books in the field was written by Matthew Jockers. It's called Text Analysis with R, which is literature, right? So it's not just a statistics book, but all the algorithms are copyright by Twitter. Thanks, a shiny web apps to get people sort of understanding what's happening. Highly annotated are notebooks, where every line of code is explained so they can figure out what has happened. And then lightly annotated are scripts that they can remix, adapt, and use on their own. So I wanted to give you an example. So this is our GitHub where everything happens that is open. And you can go here right now, and it's all there. And actually, let me take you to our Shiny, where you can also sort of see, although Shiny is obviously not as easy to read, even though the code is here. If you just want to see how Donald Trump is doing, if I could actually see that on the left side, right? Or you just want to see how Hillary Clinton is doing, or you can compare them. I have to give you the caveat on both of these. I was really interested to note that as I sort of tweak the algorithm, that here I have Clinton who has a lot more zeros, which means she's probably not hitting my lexicon very well. Here, Trump has more zeros. That initially was because the vocabulary size of most of Clinton's tweets, Trump's tweets, are smaller. And I managed to account for everything. But I think that what happened was because a lot of Trump's tweets are about Clinton, and I added some words, four-letter words in, now all of a sudden, I'm hitting the Clinton, the tweets about Clinton much more than I was before. So think of every four-letter word that you can say about a woman. So you can also do this with things that are not Twitter. There are a lot of people on campus that are doing Twitter analysis. And that is actually my next Shiny app. So this is frequency of terms across the corpus. My degree is in early modern literature. So this is the Shakespearean corpus. I'm particularly interested in a number of words and how they play out across these selected plays. I chose the word father because I'm really obsessed with Hamlet. And also, I don't like Romeo and Juliet, which is like the other text that everybody likes to use as an example. So here, Hamlet has 70 uses of the word father. King Lear has 75. Hamlet's father is dead before the play even starts, right? This whole play is about King Lear and his issues of fatherhood and who he's going to give his kingdom to and which of his daughters deserves it. So the absent father, right, this ghostly father, is almost more present than he is in his own play. Which then gives me a jumping off point to go to my notebook, right, and figure out how things are happening and what I can do. And so I would read through it, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing all these things. This is actually back to politics. And then I can finally go to the script, which is more lightly annotated, and I can start putting in maybe different terms. Because maybe now I'm like, the King Lear, maybe that's more about daughters. He's got 3 daughters. He's super worried about it. He's only got one that he likes. So now I need to look at some words that I didn't include in my sheet. And that's really easy to do if you follow our workflow. Back to the window. So yeah, that's kind of the same picture again. Annotations. The lighting of the script. And then next steps. So parallelization is something that we're working on right now, actually with Essen's group. So that's something that we would really like to do. Those who are working hard know that it's a memory hog. At a certain point, the purpose is going to be too big, especially with tweets. Like I started actually scraping those tweets about Trump in July. And if I was scraping 10,000 tweets a day, which is actually not very much text, I run out of space very quickly, so that it takes a long, long time to process all my tweets. I can do it on our studio on cards, which is awesome. But there are other ways to speed it up. Also working with the Hockey Trust, as the Hockey Trust is making their text more available. We have access now to the works of Tony Morrison and William Faulkner. And people who have never been tested and analyzed because they're still in copyright. And so there's these corpora that we can build that are actually totally amazing. I almost didn't get into grad school, so I wrote my essay on William Faulkner and John model like Milton against Fokker. And then see wins. We also want to do these more sophisticated algorithms. LDA, LSA, network analysis. Like I said, LDA is something that's really instructive and can show you some really great outliers. And there we've been collaborating with Allen's group. And I was just talking to Jamie Murdoch, who is one of his research assistants, on Monday about some new corpora that they're incorporating. And they have the Old Bailey online, which is prison records from 1640 to 1913 from Britain. You can see all the people got deported to Australia. You can also see feeding the belly, which is something that happens. You're like, oh, I might have done it, but I was committed, so you should let me out. I was interested to see if that came up as a topic. And then finally, we're thinking about building a text analytics portal, because that's something that has already been loaded by people like Alex. So, and now for something completely different. So we've been talking text. One of the things that we want to talk about here is photogrammetry. So photogrammetry is the act of stitching all of these photos together to create 3D objects. It's used in the humanities for documentation and for recreation. So there's one, Bernie Fisher, you may have probably read this summer, that IU UITS contacted him, and they want to digitize their entire collection. So he's doing that over the next 5 years, which is really amazing. So there's some really incredible statues there. In addition, Bernie spent the last 5 or 6 years recreating what Hadrian's build looked like at the time. Right? So you go and you look at the ruins and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But we also now know that those statues were painted. He has sort of done all of the floors with samples of marble that were available from Hadrian's villa. So you're recontextualizing everything. So it's used by media scholars, art historians, museologists, librarians, anthropologists, and the cultural heritage center. So this is a CyberDH RDS AVO collaboration. Because currently the industry standard for stitching together photos is Photoscan. And to make it work efficiently, semi-efficiently, because it's again really computationally intensive, Bernie right now has one computer, it's a $7,000 PC that has 128 gigs of RAM and a whole bunch of graphics cards lined up. And it takes it a day to stitch a person-sized statue together. And that's about 2 to 3 gigs of photos. So large items, like they started doing flyovers of entire areas, that's about 50 gigs of photos. And then they take up to a month to stitch. So how many people have like a dedicated tower that just be like, oh, like, yeah, that kind of thing. So by working with Bill and Reminder and Essen, we've got a test already run on Mason, in which the small item took 3 hours to stitch. So that's better. And the large item took 55 hours to stitch. So that's cool too. So this was using 18 nodes with 32 processors per node and 512 gigs of memory. So we're learning how to parallelize this, which is something that Photoscan said that you can do for a really long time, but nobody's really kind of figured it out. And this will benefit the Virtual World Heritage Laboratory, like Black Lab, who wants to digitize their collection, maybe drive more traffic there. We have almost, I think it's 4,000 or 5,000 intact objects from Eagle Mountains. And we are the premier site of all of that repository from Eagle Mountains. And nobody really ever looks at it because it's not cataloged and made available in a way that's, I think, accessible. The IU Art Museum has also been talking to us. And then the CBRC, Gary Boats, which seems to come to everybody and be like, hey, I have a question, is in the process of doing 10,000 objects. And there's a collaboration with the library where they're doing a hybrid head with a studio repository on top of it. You're also training students some metadata standards. You don't even want to see like what some metadata looks like. How to insert it into a repository that is going to have a shelf life. And the deployment in a 3D viewer. And I wanted to show you right now. Sketchfab is what Bernie is using. What we are using is a homegrown X3D viewer. And the reason that I don't like, and you can see here there was some light stuff, Sketchfab is that's like saying, I have a lot of videos, I'm going to put them all on YouTube. And that's totally fake, which is not true, right? So this way you retain control over your data. You guys probably know this statue of Herman, and you can also annotate it, so you can see when it was being made. I also have on here the Showalter fountain, which I'm going to confess that before I did this, I thought she was a mermaid for a really long time. And I was like, oh, she's a Venus. But the fish there, I don't know. And so here you can see actually one of his early pictures, was actually he thought about having her stand up in a clamshell. Oh, I need her to stop rotating so that I'll rotate a little bit. And it has a bunch of features, which if you're interested in, I can show you. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about digital publishing, which is sort of a standard thing. Again, text was something that was done very early by digital communities because right? Unlike sound or video or images. So the team has been involved in pioneering Scalar and Mecca integration. I know that these are words that might not be as familiar to you all. So Scalar is out of the University of Southern California. It's a mix of multimodal content management system in which you can also create multiple paths through a book, right? So for example, if you're teaching a course, you might have a pedagogical path through the book that is available for other teachers. And then you might have a student path through the book, right, that you expect them to follow. I use it right now with my students, and that we're building the book as the course goes along. And we're writing reviews of like the AR experimentation that we did in class one day. They're going to write reviews of photogrammetry. They're going to talk about their major projects. I also have final projects that were built in Scalar last year. Mecca has long been used by the library community to deliver collections. It has some limitations. It's great because it's open source. It is out of the Roy Rosenberg Center. One of the things that has really held it back is it doesn't have a way to get it shipped out once it's in. And so what people are doing with the library is they keep it all in a drawer or a repository and they simply use the Mecca to deliver the final product, right? Because they're not relying on it for this outness. It also uses Dublin Core as its native metadata, which is also not a lot of librarians or my favorite. So we have done this integration for a project called Jewish Life and Interwar Whoosh. And this is a panorama of an exhibit that exists in Whoosh, Poland. It had a very vibrant Jewish community prior to World War II. And all of these items here eventually will be clickable. Right now, this one is, and it brings up the Mecca entry for that item. So that's where you see some Mecca integration. But if we were to go, let's scroll up. This is some of the, okay, we're going to, hold on. We need to get our Control- and Control+ are always your friend on the IQ wall. There is a menu here, which is just not playing nicely. Nope, it's not doing it. All right. So normally you can also go to a Scalar article that is about that kitchen. Like I said, I'm just having some trouble with the window at the moment, but like I can show it to you in more detail if that's something that interests you. So finally, I'd like to talk about our pedagogical outreach. As you can tell, I like to talk. I'm actually mostly pretty good at it. I've done a lot of teaching. I taught high school for 7 years. I taught undergraduates for 5 years. And I'm now in my second year teaching graduate students, which is really amazing. So we started last winter giving a series of workshops on the things that we do. And again, how to sort of onboard slowly. Because there is still resistance in these fields, right? It's not like every English professor is jumping up and down saying, maybe I want to do this. And so I'll have to convince them that this is really something that can yield some insights actually pretty easily into the work that they're doing. I was having a discussion with my friend yesterday via text instead of watching the debate about Trollope versus Dickens, who are both late 19th century writers. And so we decided to topic model both of them, and we're going to have a face-off. So I think that was probably maybe more productive. So this fall, we're having the CyberDH and the NBL are actually working together to offer our series. And so we've added 3D scanning and printing, touch tables, virtual reality, augmented reality, both of those are sort of packed to the gills, which is good to know, and advanced media to our offerings on things like R and network analysis. And so if you want to come to any of these, there is a page on Scalar Commons, and there's a series you can sign up and come and listen to anyone. Listen to me do most of the CyberDH ones, or anyone from the ABL. So these are sort of all of our prongs of outreach. And I just wanted to close by sort of talking about how we fit into the national sort of the national scene. So we're on a call with other DH staff who reside in IT organizations. By and large, DH staff are either hired as full professors with DH as a like something that you're like, yeah, we want you to do DH. What that really means is we want you to do DH tenure, because there aren't tenure promotion packages that acknowledge that there's work right now. This is something we're actually talking about in my second item. The fact that it really needs to be integrated into that. Or you see them residing in libraries. But there's now about 10 of us in the United States and Canada who reside within IT organizations. And so we get together about once a month to talk to each other. And I'm also on an e-card working group creating a white paper and developing digital community support. And there is a whole section on promotion and tenure, but how to sort of scale up or what you should do if you're at a small or large college, you know, sort of all of these different issues. I'm also part of something called FemTechNet, and it's for actually any woman doing any kind of technology anywhere in the world. So it's very broad. We have a number of sort of initiatives. We have docs, which are alternative to MOOCs. I can also talk to you about what people with MOOCs. I'm allowed to do that at some point. And Wikipedia activism is something else I'm very passionate about. 87% of Wikipedia editors are white men, and I think that even though all for white men editing Wikipedia, we must educate them about what their voice means. And the voice means, if you want to look at the broad term rape case talk page, you'll see that I'm talking about, but also educating other people on how to edit Wikipedia. And we're also involved in humanities, intensive learning, and teaching. Upcoming, we'll be building portals with Steve, and I think we're going to have a couple of panels at the national or international beach in Montreal.
Sure. Well, let me grab that. Let me switch over to. It was not.
So if you want to use this, we can just turn it on. Sure. Yeah.
Let me adjust my voice. Is that a good level? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Tassie. Let me start introducing my team. I'm the manager of Research Data Services. My name is Tuna. We just started our group beginning of the year, so we are fairly new to the RT community. So not all of you might know me, but with the audience here, I think I know 95% of the people here. So I'll just briefly talk about 4 main points here. I'll introduce you my team, the services they provide, the projects that we are currently involved in, and the projects that will be upcoming new service areas that we are exploring. My team grew considerably since the beginning of the year. We are now 6 people, and luckily I have all my team here. Nancy, she has been with RT since 2005. She is doubly and holding 2 master degrees. She's PMI certified. She's sitting back there in the corner. She's interested in the business intelligence, in mobile and web application development. And she's an accomplished writer and poet, winner of the Tampa Review Prize for Poetry in 2016. Charlie is a long-time RT veteran, sitting right here, 30-plus career years. He is an IU grad, worked in many positions throughout his career, and I'm happy to work with Charlie. Thank you for joining the team. He's, along with Nancy, responsible for the research data complex. James is one of the newest members of our team. He joined us in 2016, just the end of the August. He's a PhD from College of William and Mary. He's interested in numerical algorithms for large-scale linear systems. He is expressly working on the Stampede project, and thank you, James. Guang Cheng just started working part-time with us this past month, and we should give him a large applause for defending his PhD and defending successfully. He's a student of Professor Beth Flavely, and he will be working on primarily scaling out text analytics with us. Raminder is also a long-time veteran, sitting back there with us, working since 2009. He holds a master's degree in computer science. He's working on his MBA and Master in Business Analytics at the Keller Business School. He's working on a number of projects in RDS, including our investigations in cloud and exploring cloud for research. Myself, I'm an IU grad here. Some of you might know. I graduated in '91 with a master's degree, went on to my PhD work, started a company, didn't finish my PhD, and after so many years, in fact, after 25 years, came back to Bloomington here, and I'm very happy to be here working along with you. I'm going to talk about the 2 primary services that we have in RDS. The first one is a service that has been started at SPIA. We became the IT owners of Radar service this year. It is a secure data enclave for social sciences. What it does is enables data custodians to upload data sets, and researchers can work on these data sets securely via VPN connection. And they're not allowed to transfer data in and out of into the server or out of it. They cannot copy, paste, print out of that server. There's no web access on the server, and they can expressly work on that data set, having the full privileges to look at of all the data that's in there in the data set that's signed off under license from agencies that we get the data from. We provide common analysis tools on the radar's server, such as SAS, SPSS, Stata, R, and quite a few of them are obviously using Microsoft Excel, the Office tools as well. If you are wondering what these data sets are, here is a partial list of all these different data sets and the vendor agencies that provide these data sets. For instance, right in the middle there, Indiana Department of Education provides a number of data sets where researchers have explicit access into personal information for student performance, demographic information, and hence they are not allowed to disclose any of that information, but only the aggregate results of their analytic work. The radar service we provide to the researchers mostly on our campus in IU Bloomington here and also IU PUI. There is a data custodianship, data stewardship on the, in radars, and the Social Science Research Commons, SSRC, and we provide the data stewardship on the data. We are the service owners and the technical advisors on that, the service. We also consult with SPIAS as they have started the service a long time ago there. This server itself is on an VM administered by HelpNet. The infrastructure is quite simple. It is one server behind a firewall that researchers can get through VPN. There's plenty of storage and enough capacity to do the analytics on there. What's interesting with radars is besides the IT system, there's an entire workflow around supporting the whole process of working on these data sets. So we have primarily four-stage workflow where a researcher applies for new data and we grant them under agreement access to the server. Then we sign confidentiality affidavits with the data agencies to obtain the data, signing on users, adding users to that particular project, and we get the data, store it there. Once they are done, the researchers are done with their research, we analyze their results so that it doesn't have any identifiable information on the results, and we provide it to the researchers. We purge the data, and we give the data back to the agency. The other service we have in RDS is the Research Database Complex. It supports research-related databases primarily for MySQL and Oracle. We also support data-intensive applications on these databases. We provide for database-driven web applications that primarily focus on research. On RDC, we have over 50 clients across Indiana University and its affiliates. We, over the last year, in the last fiscal year, we provided over 800 billion reads and 2.7 billion write database operations. That sounds like the McDonald's burgers that are served, but that's a fairly impressive number. We have 15 database consulting tickets that we closed over the last year that were part of 156 total tickets that our small mighty team, Nancy and Charlie here, resolved. These are the clients that we have currently on the RDC. You might notice that quite a few School of Medicine clients we are serving here. There is Kelley School of Business on both campuses. There is Regan Street Institute. There is SOIC. There is School of Ed. So it's a fairly big list of clients that we have on the RDC. If you look at the stats of RDC, it's fairly impressive numbers here as well. I'm going to direct your attention to just a few of these numbers. We have 120 database instances, 724 schemas, and over the last year we had over 12 million user logins. So that's a lot of use in the service. The other interesting thing is we are seeing quite a bit of growth in the MySQL side of the service. The 81% there is how much we have grown in the number of disks that dedicated to MySQL databases. So that's quite a bit of growth there, right there. And the infrastructure is basically it's a 4-node database serving nodes. One is dedicated to MySQL, and 3 of them are dedicated to Oracle. We have quite a bit of capacity in terms of teraflops on the system. The nodes are high-speed internet connected, 10 gigabit interconnect. And we have 96 terabytes of attached storage, so that's a lot of storage we have in RDC. The bottom part of the diagram is the live production system with the 4 database serving nodes, the web server, and the management node. And the top part is the test system that drives the production system. So we test everything before we put them on our production system. Let me just briefly talk about the directions that we are going in RDC. We are striving for efficiency. So we have reclaimed 15 terabytes of storage on RDC. I think it's one of the main problems that any organization has is knowing what data we have and what it contains, whether it's useful for the long run, whether it's worth storing for the long run, and making it available as well. So we retired 69 inactive databases and 524 inactive schemas as well. So that some came to 15 terabytes of storage that was reclaimed. Meanwhile, we strive for utility. So we added 28 new MySQL database instances and 19 Oracle schemas. Like any system, our RDC is aging. It's a bare metal system residing up in Indy, so it's getting old. So the hardware refresh is coming imminent. And so we are investigating the options whether to do a hardware refresh or I put it on a commercial or private cloud and an IU cloud here, and we should have results by the end of the year deciding how we are going to have the RDC live on. We also investigate new database technologies. As you know, the regular relational database model is good, but there are all these new database models out there that are getting tremendous use. So we are looking into ways of supporting and consulting on NoSQL and NewSQL databases. And we look into data management consulting as well. Let me switch over to our current projects now. The first one I would like to talk about is the Stampede project. It's from the Exceed umbrella of projects run by TAC, Texas Advanced Computer Center, and IU is a co-PI, Eric Werner is a co-PI on that project. Stampede is a very, very large Dell cluster. You will notice some numbers here. It has over 100,000 cores on that cluster. So it's a very impressive number. And it's dedicated for parallel applications, scalable parallel applications that can use tens of thousands of cores. The Stampede one is almost over. The next iteration of Stampede project is starting next year, and it will have the Knights Landing KNL architecture with the Intel Xeon Phi 7250 CPUs and 100 gigabyte per second omni-path interconnect. So our role in this project is doing analysis application support and optimization. We particularly look at MATLAB, R, and Python. And with the new Stampede 2 coming up, we are looking into configuration benchmarks and optimizing for the new architecture and identifying and resolving software stack issues on that new architecture. The next project I would like to talk about is text analytics, and it's again a lovely marriage of RDS and CyberDH here. We are doing projects that we can contribute to from our systems point and from the point of scaling them out to large infrastructures. We are looking together on a use case for history on science, so studying the Down syndrome on publications. We just started this project with Tassie last month, and currently what we did is we queried a repository to build a metadata image corpus of interest, and now we are using methods like LDA that Tassie talked about and topic modeling, and we are hoping to build a scalable workflow and make it available through a notebook front end. And obviously, we would like to do this for very large data sets, scale it out, and run these jobs on our high-performance systems. And the eye-catching diagrams that are down below describe that process. Starting from the left, we just collected that corpus. We looked into what is mentioned in that corpus for that particular research, ranked them. We looked into the trend over the years, and we also started mapping the topics in this corpus. So this is a fresh work in progress project. Next, the main last part of my talk here is the emerging areas of research data management. These are the areas that we are investigating and hoping that we'll identify common patterns and find out good solutions for common problems and make them available, going through the pain points ourselves in RDS, and providing the distilled results to RT. We are looking into tools for data management like IRODs and complete data management systems like Cyverse, the former iPlant, and BizQ, which is image query system used by Cyverse. We are involved in several data organizations. We engage with these organizations for mutual technology transfer across the nation and really the globe. I'm representing RT and IU at National Data Service Group, and we are also working with Rob Quick on Research Data Alliance and with Crystal Callback-Rose on the Midwest Big Data Hub. So all these organizations are trying to figure out how the immense collections of data can be put to use, how we can manage all the data that we collect over time, both for science, for humanities, and they are looking into providing solutions and systems and standards. So we are getting involved in these groups for our sake. And locally here, I'm also involved in the IU Data Management Working Group that's led by Robert McDonald of the libraries. And there, one of our outstanding problems in the university is the data management plans. And we are collectively trying to solve that problem both with a workflow and a technology solution. Very interesting area of emerging area is cloud for research. All these big names of cloud providers are looking into ways of providing their capabilities to research institutions like ours. So we start looking at this problem almost the beginning of this year and trying to make sense of whether the use of commercial cloud for research is cost effective or not. There are several components to that problem. How you can get your data in and out of the commercial cloud, the cost of the storage licenses, and the invisible cost of the learning curves, researcher time, and then there's the big issue of portability of the workflow. Once you do stuff up in the commercial cloud, you should have the option to be able to bring all that research back to on-premise if you need to. So that is a fairly big problem. And as I said, they are trying to encourage use of the cloud for research. There are a number of grants provided by Microsoft and Amazon as well. Two interesting case studies we have done in the past 6 months or so, both on photogrammetry and on metadata extraction from images and video. The photogrammetry case, this was first an experimentation of how can we do this workflow in the commercial cloud, and we did get some interesting results and some conclusions out of this. We devised a workflow and actually have this workflow scripted out all the way from sign-on to getting the results. And here are a few interesting points that we have, both using our experience with Azure and AWS. We all know all the pros in general. There's a fast provisioning, there's on-demand scalability, and there are very large and impressive state-of-the-art analysis tools available on the commercial cloud. And the vendors are eager to engage with research institutions. So these are all good things, but on the flip side, it tends to be fairly expensive for 24/7 services, and when you are talking about a large number of CPURs that you have to deal with. Another interesting project we did on our investigations with the commercial cloud is the metadata extraction. As I said, the commercial cloud provides a large number of capabilities when it comes to image recognition and analysis. We took the Cushman collection. It's an IU collection of very well preserved and curated images. We took that and fed it through Microsoft Cognitive Services, and there's a long list of things that you can do on the Microsoft Cognitive Services image analysis, and figured out that even though the Cushman collection is very well curated, using the capabilities on the commercial cloud, we were in fact able to identify a lot of different points of metadata in each image. So we do, this is all the things that we do. I talked about our people, our services, our ongoing projects, and the new directions that we are taking. And if you have any questions, both Tassie and myself will be happy to answer. Yes, Scott asked the question that we are retiring databases 3 times as faster as we are adding new ones, and that's a question, the numbers I put up for the RDC, and the answer yes and no. That we retired databases that are not active. So if you look at it that way, actually whether keep them on our service or not really is immaterial. They were just in a way dead wood there. That's costing us resources. Meanwhile, we actively seek the good users who are have a utility of our system, and added 28 new databases and 19 schemas from the Oracle side. So that way, I think if you look at the actual use, the use is increasing as we're the number of the entire storage that we have added on the active MySQL side. We are actually enjoying tremendous growth than shrinking. Thanks, Scott. Any other ones? Well, thank you very much.